All right, hey everyone, I want to do a video about cancer. World Without Cancer by G. Edward Griffin, the story of Laetrile. Cut, poison, burn. In the war on cancer, the disease is only half the battle. And in this book right here, Alternative Medicine, the Definitive Guide. As you can tell, it's a very big book, but it talks about alternative treatments to cancer. And put the thing back on. There we go. Okay, I think in Proverbs 15:11, I could be wrong on that, but it says there's wisdom in the multitude of counselors. So I would like your assistance. There's a gentleman at my church who's a friend of mine who just got diagnosed with lymphoma cancer, is my understanding. And we have a joint friend who is investigating like alternative treatments and trying to understand what's available out there. And I've been telling him about, cut, poison, burn, Laetrile, vitamin B17. Philip Stott has wrote a paper on cancer treatments as well. And I've been sending some of this for him to review. And he sent me this, and I just wanted to read it. It may take me a little bit of time. But I'm not unfamiliar with the effects of cancer. My first wife died from ovarian cancer that spread throughout her body. And my brother died from brain cancer. He was over-radiated. But when I say that I haven't been to the doctor in 27 years, I'm saying that for my own self. I haven't been to the doctor for my own self. When I view a hospital, I view it as a infestation of demons that want to kill, steal, and destroy human beings. And they're very nice when they do it. I mean, when I say I haven't been to the doctor, I've been to the doctor for other people. I've been to the doctor probably more than any of you that are watching this video. I went all the time, and I sat in the room and I would talk to them, and I watched what they did to my family members. And so I'm very familiar with hospitals, the procedures and the processes, and the people in the white coats with the medical degrees. I'm very familiar with it, and I know how they act like they care, and they smile, and all the time they just kill you with the poison, chemotherapy, and the radiation, and everything else. But this letter was written by a guy by the name of Michael Higgins, and it was sent to me as sort of, I guess, a counter argument to the alternative treatments. And I would ask you to listen to this, and then if you have additional information or experiences, I would ask that you share them. But I am not an advocate for chemotherapy, radiation, mastectomies, and cutting, surgery to cut the cancer out. I believe that it should be done naturally with vitamin B17. And, I'm not trying to make light of this either, because, this gentleman, this friend of mine at church, he's been diagnosed with cancer. That's a very serious thing, right? It's going to affect his family and his children and his friends. And he's in the hands of the Lord. But he's got a very serious decision about how he's going to go about treating it, right? And he's got people telling him to do it the natural way, and he's got people telling him, that you need to go with the proven mainstream methods for treating cancer, and he probably don't know what to think. And I'll say this: when my wife went through it, she didn't listen to me. I showed her these videos. I showed her the books that said that you're more likely to die by the treatment of cancer than you are by cancer. I showed her that the chemotherapy doctors said that if they get cancer, they won't even take chemotherapy. That less than 2 to 3% of people that take chemotherapy are supposedly helped by it in any way at all. And so I respect the free will of individuals to evaluate and make decisions, even if it means that I don't agree with their decisions, and even if I think the ramifications of those decisions are that they are going to die. Right? I respect people's free will so much that even though I strongly believe the consequences of those decisions are that it will kill them, I was like, well, what else can I can't force my belief system in your brain. And I had that with my own previous wife, right? She didn't want to listen to anything about this. She wanted to listen to the doctor wearing the white coat with the medical degree. And I showed videos to my mother-in-law, my father-in-law, and it's just one of those things, you know. It's just one of those things where, what can you do? And the decision was made to go with mainstream medical treatment. They ruin the immune system, and then, you know what happens? You go to the high school and you get a vaccination after your immune system has been ruined. And then once you get the vaccination, it's all over with, because the vaccination puts additional poison in your body and you don't have an immune system to fight it. This is written by a guy by the name of Michael Higgins. Is there really a conspiracy to suppress cancer cures? The world of alternative cancer treatments abounds with claims like these. The war on cancer is largely a fraud. In 1964, the FDA spent millions of dollars to stop an alternative cancer treatment which had cured hundreds, if not thousands, of cancer patients. The pharmaceutical multinationals, unable to patent or claim exclusive rights to the vitamin, launched a propaganda attack of unprecedented viciousness against B17, despite the fact that hard proof of its efficiency in controlling all forms of cancer. Okay, I'm very familiar with vitamin B17. I had it in liquid form and pill form for a long time. And, you know, I've since given it away to people that have gotten cancer, but it's very hard to get a hold of. You have to order it from like outside the United States because they don't sell it in the United States anymore. The general story is that there is a conspiracy by the established medical industry to keep the cure for cancer hidden. This is the cancer conspiracy discussed on this page. The reasoning behind this theory typically goes like this. Alleged fact number 1. Cancer is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Alleged fact number 2. Treatment X cures cancer so well it would destroy that industry. Conclusion. Some individuals, companies, and government organizations involved in the industry are suppressing the information about X to keep their industry thriving. As a cancer patient myself, this is written by a guy who had cancer. As a cancer patient myself, I would like nothing better than to believe that there is a cure for my cancer out there in the world of alternative medicine. However, when you look closely at the medical industry, the possibility of such a cover-up seems implausible. It sounds very similar to the argument about 9/11. 9/11 could not have been an inside job because the cover-up would seem largely impossible. But we both know the truth about 9/11, at least I hope we do. Who are the conspirators? I have been living with cancer for 3 years, and during that time been treated by approximately half a dozen medical practitioners. I have been fortunate because almost all of them have been remarkably compassionate and caring people. Hey, the people that murdered my brother with his brain cancer, and the people that murdered my wife when she had ovarian cancer that spread throughout her body, they were very kind and caring. They had lots of smiles on their face every time we went to the chemotherapy chair and they put the bag up on the thing and it dripped the poison into her body. They were very loving and caring and welcomed us, and they played nice music when they were poisoning her. Almost all of them have been remarkably compassionate and caring people. At least one of them was motivated to pursue cancer research by the loss of a close relative. All of these individuals had partaken in medical research at some stage in their careers. and about half of them were actively involved in researching regarding treating cancer patients at the time of my treatment. One of them sat on the board of a private pharmaceutical company. Another was an advisor to a government agency. If you look across the world, there must be hundreds of thousands, if not millions, like them. Like all the people who believe in evolution, like all the people who believe that the universe is billions of years old, like all the people who believe the world spins and goes around the sun. They are the people I'm being asked to believe are conspiring to keep the truth hidden from me in order to keep their jobs. I believe that every single one of them would gladly quit their profession and refrain tomorrow if their patients could suddenly be cured without their help. Yet this conspiracy theory requires not just one or two bad apples knowingly letting their patients die, but a huge number, probably the majority of medical professionals in medical research would need to be involved. So he's making the argument that all of these people, there's no way they could be lying and trying to cover up a cancer fraud. Well, it's not that they're knowingly lying, it's just that they've been brainwashed. The more time they spent in the medical training, the more brainwashing that they've had. But isn't cancer big business? Of course it is. In Australia, where I live, the majority of research is funded by the government and done by universities and large teaching hospitals. The cost of treating cancer patients takes up a huge and increasing portion of the government health budget. The cancer conspiracy would suggest that the government is so concerned about keeping the business running, in this case the hospital beds full, that they would hide any discovery that would free up medical resources, hospital resources. Even the most cynical should realize that the huge cost of treating cancer patients is something the government is keen to reduce, not increase. The financial incentive is clearly on the side of finding the cure, not hiding it. This guy has a whole lot more faith in his government and his fellow man than I do. Jeremiah 17:5. And you think if the government, if those in government knew about a cure, they would just... On the other hand, I would certainly concede that private commercial funding only targets treatments that would be profitable. Typically, this is patentable drugs and excludes most alternatives. So this type of research complements rather than replaces government-funded research. But the fact that billions of dollars are spent by private companies on such research is something that I am entirely grateful for. To me, the idea that these companies could control medical knowledge, or even the individuals who work for them, is ridiculous. Well, I'm sorry, but that's exactly what's going on. They are controlling medical knowledge, and it's exactly how they control those who disbelieve in evolution. If you say that you believe in creation and that God created the universe, you're no longer able to hold a professorship at a college. They kick you out of the college because you don't accept evolution. And because they weed out the folks who know the truth about creation, they end up with an infestation of evolutionists in their colleges. It's exactly the same way they do in the medical establishment. If you believe that there are alternative medical treatments to cancer, you're kicked out of the medical establishment, and they only maintain those who, toe the party line. And why are so many people saying there is a cancer conspiracy? Are there really so many? There are billions of people who don't believe these theories, but somehow a website that says, I believe what's logical and reasonable, like most people, doesn't seem so interesting. Those who do go to the trouble of putting together an alternative cancer treatment website generally seem intent on making money out of it. Ironic, isn't it? I will give him that. Usually when God has opened the eyes of someone about alternative cancer treatment methods, it does appear that a lot of these people want to make money out of it. But if you don't make money out of it, you can't advertise and you can't promote the treatment, right? And so it's like a catch-22. When you find out the truth about something, either you're going to try to make money out of it to promote it, or if you keep it quiet, then, you know, if you don't try to make money out of it and you just tell your friends, then not a lot of people find out about it. You know what I mean? So I'm not opposed necessarily to making money, but I am opposed to trying to capitalize on the truth that God has showed you to get rich. I think that you ought to somehow, it's like what Ken Hovind did. Ken Hovind said there's no copyrights on any of his videos. You just show it to whoever you wanted to show it to. And I respected that quite a bit. And it helped get the word out, right? He goes on to say, besides, the internet is the home of conspiracy theories. You could find one on just about any subject. I'm grateful we have so many independent thinkers and freedom to express ourselves, but I get angry when I see vulnerable people being told lies and exploited for a profit. He goes on to talk about the tobacco industry and the fact that the government has put warning labels on the tobacco cigarettes. Couldn't a cure for cancer come from alternative medicine? If history has taught us anything about cancer, it is that it is not an easy disease to cure. It is 2,400 years after the disease was recorded by Hippocrates, and presumably even longer since the first treatment was attempted. If traditional medicine has failed for this long, it seems to me that a cure will require every fraction of recently obtained knowledge about microbiology, the human genome, and modern medicine. It seems unlikely that fields of research outside this body of knowledge will make a lot of progress. But if an alternative practitioner did stumble onto an effective method, the scientific community would quickly embrace it, and there would be no cover-up. Well, that's not true. That's not true at all. This guy has way too much faith in the established medical community, and just, you know, it's just sad. It's sad that he's fallen for it hook, line, and sinker. And then he has a conclusion, and I want to read you this guy's conclusion. I know there isn't any conspiracy. I know this is the guy who had cancer, Michael Higgins. This is what he says in conclusion. I know there isn't any cancer conspiracy because I know that the people doing and running the research are human. Their lives, like mine, have been touched by cancer. They, like me, would do anything to save the lives of the people they love. Furthermore, I assume that any treatments associating themselves with a conspiracy theory have something to hide. The simple fact that their treatment doesn't work. It goes on to say, Michael Higgins was an Australian engineer who was diagnosed with colon cancer in 2001. This article was a centerpiece of a website he set up in 2003 to help prevent others with cancer from wasting their time, money, and even their health pursuing worthless cures. During its 4-year lifetime, the site had more than 120,000 page hits and generated more than 300 feedback emails. It goes on to say that Mr. Higgins died in 2004. Okay, I'm not laughing at his death. Do you understand like the significance of what I just read? Mr. Higgins, who had cancer, and he was an Australian engineer, set up a website to debunk cancer conspiracy theories. And he called them worthless cures. Okay, I want you to understand what's happening here. Mr. Higgins was diagnosed with cancer. Mr. Higgins set up a website to debunk worthless cures. The next thing that happened is Mr. Higgins died of cancer, even though he was getting the mainstream medical establishment treatment. Is Mr. Higgins the right guy to receive medical advice from on cancer treatments? Mr. Higgins died of cancer by receiving the mainstream treatments. And Mr. Higgins died of cancer. I'm not laughing that he died. I'm just saying the irony of this is overwhelming. And I know that it's got to be overwhelming to get diagnosed with cancer. But I'm telling you, I don't trust cut, poison, burn. I don't trust radiation. I don't trust chemotherapy. And I don't trust surgery. I trust eating what's right. Eating. There's a book, there's a paper put together by Philip Stott. If I can find the link, I'll put it in the information bar. But it talks about eating properly, eating with a biblical diet. And I believe that there is something to vitamin B17 and Laetrile. I eat apricot seeds practically every day. I crush them up and put them in my smoothie. And I don't even go to the doctor to get diagnosed. I just don't care about getting diagnosed with cancer. And if a doctor did tell me I had cancer, I would not even give it a second thought. I would just maybe eat a little bit more apricot seeds, but I dang sure ain't gonna let them treat me with chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery. That simply, I just don't trust it at all. And if you guys think differently, that's your decision. And you're welcome to go get yourself treated however you want to. But the irony and the error of this letter is overwhelming to me. And if you guys have any more experience that you want to share, any more cancer research that you want to share, I would love to put together a little packet. I have some emails, back from 2010 that I was collecting, and I'll try to, make a packet for my friend. But if somebody doesn't want to receive alternative cancer treatments and they want to go down the mainstream road, I will respect that. I don't ever try to force my belief system onto somebody. But I think it's the wrong decision. And God might cure you anyway. We're all in God's hands anyway. And I do believe He tries to treat us a lesson when we get diagnosed with cancer. I don't know what lesson, I can't put myself in anybody else's shoes, and that's a very dangerous ground to move on, and so I don't want to move on that ground. I want to be sympathetic to my friend. I want to be empathetic. I want to be a blessing and not a curse. But the only way I know how to be a blessing is to speak about the experiences that I've had in my life and speak about what I believe to be the truth. Now, whether he will receive it or not, that's completely up to him, right? If he doesn't receive what I believe is the truth, I respect and support him anyway. And I will continue to pray for him. And if he chooses chemotherapy, radiation, and surgery, I'm still going to support him and pray for him that God's going to heal him via whatever method he chooses. But my input is stay away from that like the plague. Do not go down that road. I would not do it. But that's ultimately up to you guys. If you guys have any more knowledge to share, in Proverbs it says there's wisdom in the multitude of counselors. Please share your opinion.